we need your support, and I think we are also running out of the time. So I would like to request you to kindly proceed with your presentation this talk. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Chairman, sir, and welcome, sir. We would just have a small introductory session. So I request Team CSR to introduce and begin the today's session. A small introduction.
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are.
The 𝐵𝐶𝑃 𝐶𝑆𝑅 committee welcomes you all to a session on the art of smart work under aegis of 𝐼𝄄𝐴𝐶 cell, Bombay College of Pharmacy Autonomous, and in association with 𝐵𝐶𝑃 Alumni Association. This session was made possible due to Dr. 𝐵𝐵𝑐𝑃-𝐶 𝐆, who is our alumni and currently working as regional technical manager in South India and Nepal at 𝐵𝐴𝑠 India Private Limited. We thank you, sir, and request you to kindly introduce our speaker for today. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. My great pleasure to introduce His Grace Sundar Chetan Das Prabhuji. And I'm really obliged and thankful to him for accepting this invitation in a very short notice and giving time from his busy schedule. So little introduction about him. He is a B Chemical Engineering and from Pune University. He ranked 27th in Maharashtra in his 10th exam, and he has worked as a production engineer with a multinational pharmaceutical company. So he was also associated with pharma company. So that's good for all of us. And he is practicing Krishna consciousness since 1997. He has also served as a youth outreach leader and counselor since last 16 years. He is a youth director and management council member of ISKCON Juhu, Mumbai. He holds a Bhakti Shastri degree from MIHE for deeply studying and major ancient wisdom books like Bhagavad Gita, Sri Upanishad, and Srimad Bhagavatam. And he has given hundreds of seminars for students in many premium institutes like NIT in Surathkal, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Mumbai, etc. And he gives lectures for motivation, and he's a life coach for many institutes throughout the country. And he is also taking regular Gita life classes for youth working in top IT companies like Accenture, Capgemini, Tata, TCS, Infosys in Mumbai and Hyderabad. So with a small introduction, I request Prabhuji to start his talk today. And I request all of you, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can write your questions, and in the end we can just read out for the answers. And this is a very good opportunity for all of us to learn something different from your core subject, and we can always ask whatever the question comes into your mind. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Please go ahead with the presentation.
So I'm very thankful to Chairman Sir for arranging this program. I thank Agnivesh also, and all of you who have gathered here on this platform. So today we are discussing about the topic of art of smart work. So with a little prayer, I'll start. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So very hearty welcome for all the participants. And today we are speaking about the art of smart work. So to give the introduction to this topic, first thing we want to understand that when we are here and we are working hard for our ambitions, we are working very hard, planning so many things so that it will make our life better and better in terms of knowledge, in terms of our achievements, in terms of our relationships, in many ways. So when we are talking about smart work always means that the work which is very favorable for everybody, including us, the work which gives us a facility to become a contributor in our own life and the society at large. So when we are talking about smart work is not just look smart, but then smart work means a lot of things goes below. Like the way we say that so many people, they go to see Agra and Taj Mahal specifically, and so many people, they marvel at the construction and the kind of majesty of that building, but rarely, few people, hardly, may give great applause to the engineer who created such a great foundation, which is lasting for so long in the very soft soil of just on the bank of a river. So this foundation of a building goes always unseen, but then that is the one of the most foundational thing which starts our work. So to start with this presentation, I want to start with this one small question, that all of you have seen that in our vehicles, whether it is a bike or whether it's a car, we have a brake. All of you have seen it, used it so many times. But do you know why this brake is kept? You may say that this is such a, like, what kind of question it is? Brake is for braking, right? So why the brake is kept? The brake is kept, somebody may say that we can reduce the speed, we can stop the vehicle, etc. But then, along with these functions of brake, one of the very important function of the brake is, you'll be surprised to know, and that is to increase the speed of the vehicle. I repeat, the significance of brake in the vehicle is it adds to the speed of the vehicle. Let us examine what it means. Have you ever drive any bicycle without a brake, or bike where you know that the brake is little loose, or the car with a loose brake? Have you driven any time? Then you can know that if the cycle is there or bike is there and it has no working brake, I guarantee you will not speed up for sure, because you know that speed will kill you, and that's how you will be very careful, go on very as low speed as possible, just to avoid the accident. So we can see that powerful brake gives us a confidence to drive the vehicle very fast, because we know that things are in our control. If things are not in our control, we don't have that confidence to go ahead very fast. And that's how we find in this world many times people, although having a capacity, talent, still they are not going high speed in terms of their achievements and ambitions and plans. Why? This is one of the very important concept which comes in our wisdom literatures, in our uh, culture. So, and that is to have this self control. So this control our own life gives us empowerment to go very fast in terms of achieving our own goals. So this is little special angle which we are looking at our smart work. So when we are talking about smart work, as I discussed before also, that smart work is not just looking smart. Nowadays, when we go for some type of personality development type of programs, they teach us how to smile, how to shake hands, and then how to report and how to do that, all that things. But then still all these things can't give you the courage and confidence which needs for going very supersonic speed. So that's why we are today here discussing about gaining that self-control which gives us a confidence to go very fast in our life. So as we are going ahead, first thing we understand, and that is what is this SMART means. So this SMART has this is a acronym, SMART. So that is called as a SMART. So what is this SMART? S is our goals, is specific goals which we create. So specific means whenever we are having, for example, majority of you are students, and then you are so all of you are able to see the PPT which I am showing, PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, Prabhuji, we are. It is visible.
Okay. So when we are discussing about this smart work, as we are discussing that SMART, it means S is specific, M is measurable, A is achievable, R is realistic, and T is time bound. We'll discuss about it a bit. Specific means many times when we are planning, our plan is not very specific. For example, I'll tell you, when I was in engineering and we're staying in hostel, many times somebody asks you, how is your study going on? Or how much you studied today? So this is a question, and you can see that person's response and then understand how much he has studied. If he says, yeah, I studied the whole day, and somebody says, yeah, I studied 4.5 hours. So you can understand just by his reply. Somebody says, I studied whole day. That means actually he has not studied, because he has no idea how much he studied. So it has to be specific whenever we are planning anything, when we are taking care of what to achieve. Second is measurable. That is one of the thing that is a law, that whatever you measure, you excel in that. So when you measure, you excel. You can see that how the general, somebody is going for Olympic for running, they are always measuring their time needed for running 100 meters every day, practically so many times in a day. So because they measure, they excel in running. So similarly in our life also, whatever things we are working, specifically for studies or whether you are doing any activity, that has to be measurable. And when you are planning something, that should be achievable also. I have seen sometimes people, they lose so much of time in discussing something about who should be the captain of Indian cricket team. Two college students along with their friends, they will sit and discuss about who should be the next captain, as if the ICC board, the cricket board, is going to ask this forum that it was so valuable, your discussion, can you please tell us whom should be, and then we'll just follow because you discussed it so nicely. So many times our mode of planning, functioning goes in this direction, where things are not, we goes beyond our area of concern, and then things are not proper. Next is realistic. The goal has to be realistic in a sense. People should make such goals which are not in air, not like a daydreaming. It's realistic. Realistic also means that it is there in our capacity to do it, not beyond capacity. And T is time bound. So whenever we are making any plans, they are time bound. So that is what the that smart work means. So when we are discussing about the smart work, as we are discussing, that our foundation has to be very clear. As you see here in this PPT, there is a third thing in the universe, consciousness, which I see to be next neither matter or force. So Thomas Huxley is a great scientist in the last century, and then he is talking about, scientifically he can understand that there is a third thing, and that is consciousness. Consciousness means chetana. It's a living energy. So this is very much discussed in our literatures, which gives us wisdom, like Bhagavad Gita or many other religious books. So why we are discussing about this is because to the degree we understand our own system properly, to that degree we will be able to take proper decisions. So when we are discussing about our current scenario, we are able to see this. So our wisdom literature talks about our three existences. The first is the gross appearance, like you are seeing me, I'm speaking now. So that is our gross. So when we are talking about gross thing which we are able to see, deal with it. That is the gross body, which has made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Inside that is subtle body, which we all function with. Some we don't see it, which is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So this is a subtle body which is inside. And third, our own identity as a spirit, as an antimatter, and that is soul. Or differently, it is called as Chetana. Some call it as Atma, some call maybe different names. So when we are talking about this, why we are talking about this? When we are leading our life, we all live our life on these 3 planes. One is gross plane, next is emotional plane, and third is spiritual plane. I'll give a simple example just to understand this. All of you are now working with your either mobile or laptop. So here also we see that the whole this system, like I was seeing now, I'm very sorry for the delay, because delay happened because our laptop was not functioning properly. It was not opening things. So we can see that if the hardware is not equipped to have the meet, and then it doesn't work properly. So similarly in our life also we have these 3 existences, and then to the degree they are properly kept, to that degree we can work efficiently. So the first is gross body, which compares to the external look of the laptop or your mobile. That is the hardware. So that hardware is compared to the gross thing of that item. So this body also is our hardware, which we are working with. Next to that is the software part, which is also very important, and that is mind, intelligence, and false ego. So mind has the storage of all the desires, thoughts, some previous experiences. And as you know that intelligence is the deciding factor. It decides. So when we are talking about this software, if it is working nice, then hardware and software in connection of each other, they work very nicely. So when we are discussing about this, the software, we see that many times you have experience that your mobile or laptop, it gives this, when it hangs, some round keeps moving, and then that it generally happens when you are opening one app or laptop or things like that, and then it just writes down just a moment or something like that, and then it is moving round. But then if it goes beyond 1 minute, then our head starts going like this, because it's not opening. You know why it is not opening? We know because there is some problem. Software is either virus infected or it's not properly installed. So similarly, when we are also working, sometimes you find we have experienced this. Sometimes you are sitting with a book for study, and then you are on the page number 35, and then 1 hour goes and you are still on that page only, not even covered 2 paragraphs gone down. So what is happening is same only. It's just doing round like that. So why such thing happen? Because our software is hanged. Many times people, they come up with the thing that आज mood nahi hai. So that means also our software is hanged. Capacity is there, opportunity is there, but then it is hanged because mood is not there. So when we are discussing about the software can be made into workable thing when we take out all the bugs or the things which gives problem to in the running of that software. So similarly, the way there are bodily discomforts, for example, some diseases like corona is there, or some other things which come. Similarly, this software, the mind also goes through the discomfort. So when we are properly taking care of that mind and intelligence, then our software also is virus free. We'll go ahead and see that what are these viruses of. So these viruses are made up of bad, negative thoughts which comes in our life. Why? Because just few days back only, I was giving class in IIT Powai, some of the students. So I was very shocked to hear that first year boy of MTech, he went on the 4th floor and then jumped from there. Not as a fun, he was serious, and then he committed suicide. So we can imagine that people, they die to come to IIT or something like that, and after coming to IIT also they feel so kind of off, not fulfilled in their life because of so many things. And specifically you'll find that such kind of extreme people, they go not because of bodily ailments. Have you seen ever any person committing suicide just because he's having some cancer or something like that? Never. Even if it is painful, going through chemotherapy or whatever, he will never think of this kind of extreme. But then we see that mind, if it is little disturbed, then people think to end that life is more kind of that is less hurting than current what they are going through. So we see that along with the taking care of our body, we have to take care of this our internal subtle body also, and our identity, which gives us life, which gives us consciousness, and that is Atma, which is antimatter. So when this we are discussing about how the this acquired bad qualities which hampers our working, the software, the hardware, and the so these three things were there. One is outside, and that is hardware. Second was inside, that is software. And third was the user, which uses the hardware and software. So when the hardware software is proper, then everything is going nicely. But then the user also has to be in proper form. So or when these three things becomes complementing each other, then only we get things done. So when we are talking about the software which we are focusing more on, and that is our mind intelligence, how they work and how they help us to do smart work in our life. So here we find that there are some viruses which comes in the bad qualities in terms of. So there are some simple, some serious, and there are some grave viruses to our system. So here we are discussing about making some change to our current situation. Change is when we do the change, that change is always on these three terms: thinking, behavior, and our attitude. So we are discussing this because we all have some things in our life which we need to change. And generally, we see that on the first day of New Year, people make resolutions that now in this year, I want to do such and such thing, which I couldn't do last year, something like that. And then they make a wish list that, okay, I wish to do these things. So we want some change than what we went through before. So how that change comes, that is a very interesting thing, which we are going to discuss now. You are able to see this?
Yes, sir. The capsular slide.
Yeah. So this is very important slide of the whole today's topic. So hear it nicely. So here we see that we know this, that this story we heard from our childhood, that cap seller was there and then he went selling the caps. He passed through the jungle and then the monkeys came and then they took away his caps. And then the hats were gone. He was very unhappy, started crying, and then he went and tried to kind of get the caps back. But then it was not possible because, and then all of you know that he just thought a little bit what to do. And then he took out his cap, showed to the monkeys. Monkeys also took out the cap, and then he showed to he showed to the cap seller. And then cap seller threw the cap in his basket, and all the monkeys also did the same thing. And cap seller was happy, and we are also very happy that he got his caps. And then he walked off. But then, if you see what the whole thing means, this approach of that cap seller, what he did, can be of three different things, three different levels. He can have three different responses when this happened. I'll tell you one. One response can be the cap seller becomes so frustrated, hopeless, and then he cries. He sits there cursing that karm phut gaya, yeah, I lost everything. What can I do now? So he can go in depression. Second, he takes things in his hand to resolve. And then he starts picking up the stones and starts throwing to the monkeys. And he starts chasing the monkeys. You think that will happen anytime? The monkeys jump from one branch to another. And when he's pelting stones, monkeys also starts throwing the tree fruits and things like that at him. And then after hours of recovery, nothing is in his hand. Only thing, he has wasted time, he has become tired, and then he just sits there after a lot of efforts. So that is second choice he had, the response he can have. Third response, which is very intelligent response, and that is he understands how the mentality of monkeys they work. So he knows that monkeys are very apt in kind of, they impersonate or they imitate very nicely. So then he takes out his cap and then shows and then put it in basket. So the most important question for all of us is, when we are given some challenging situation, which response we choose? I'll tell you, many times people fail to choose the third response, which is smart. Have you seen in your own life how many times we actually choose that smart response? Very seldom, very rare. Not always. Generally, our response is either frustrated response of hopelessness or response of hard labor without any gain. How many times you have seen some people, they work very hard in the slog like anything in their semester, but then the result is very less. We see some people, they smartly do the studies and then they top. So we see that whether it's a study, whether it is our career, whether it is our work, whatever, these three responses you will see always. One is helpless response, another is futile work, hard work response without any gain, and third is smart response, which gives us some effect, efficiency is there. So all of us, we want to have that third response always. So we see that how to choose that response, because that response is chosen by us at all the time. So this response comes by this self-test, and we have to see that what kind of personality I am, because there are these three types of personalities which gives these three responses. So let us see. So the first, when we are seeing here, that know your personality type, and we prepare ourselves for becoming a very visionary leader in future. So first is mode of goodness, sattva guna. Second is passion, rajo guna, and third is ignorance, tamo guna. Some of you may have heard these terms, some of you may not. So the colors also that reflects that personality type. Ignorance is black. That is a negative type of thinking, negative type of response, negative type of relationships. That is the third category, black. Second response is rajoguna, that is active but no direction, directionless activity. That is the response of passion. And the goodness is sattva guna. That is a very intelligent activity which is oriented towards the result. It's guided. So we see in ourselves these three type of personalities at different times in different percentage. Why we are discussing it? Because only the decisions, right decisions are made in sattva guna. Decisions are made because this platform. Okay, let me give little understanding of what is this guna means. Guna is the, like, for example, you are tuning your channel, you are seeing the TV, and then you see the Discovery Channel. So you tune it, and then exactly that channel comes on the screen. So similarly, what type of thing we tune ourselves to, because these three things are always there. Rajagun, Tamagun, Sattvagun. If you tune our lifestyle to Sattva Guna, then we also come in Sattva Guna. If you tune ourselves to Rajoguna, passion, then we also come in that Rajoguna. If you tune to Tamoguna, the ignorance, then we also come in that Guna. And when somebody is in different Guna, his response will be different. As we see in the cap seller, first response was hopeless. He just cried. That is the response of ignorance. Second, he worked very hard, but no gain. That was in passion. And third is very intelligent, smartly he works with guidance. That is Sattva Guna. We can see that these things happen in our life also. Whether you are studying, how many times you have seen some people, they work very hard, they don't sleep at night, they're just night out, and not like, but then the output is very small in terms of what they have given and then what they have come up. Some people, they just talking always negative, they never talk anything positive. They have all the bad words to give to college, government, municipality, Indian cricket team, or whatever. They have full kind of. So we see these three types of response comes where you tune yourself. It will be clear when I go to next slide. So this mode of ignorance, here you see the animal also. So that is the wolf, which comes out in the night. So these are the things which given in Bhagavad Gita talks about it as Nidra, Alasya, Pramada. These three qualities are associated with this mode of ignorance. Nidra means excessive sleep. Alasya, you are very postponing things. And Pramada. Pramada means you are almost like intoxicated. You don't know what is happening. So these are the characteristic of this mode. This is the channel which we are, when we are connected, we work like that. Laziness, insecure, no thinking, suicidal thoughts, bewildered, depression, hopeless, fearful, inattentive, dull, foolish, confused, intoxicated, panic, indecision, postponing, madness. So these are the different things happens in this mode. And when you are in this mode, very less chance of taking a good response. So your ability to choose is almost not there. Doesn't happen. Second is mode of passion, that is called as Sangha and Trishna, that he has obsessive attachment. Obsessive, like you have seen sometimes, nowadays, even small kids I see, they practically glued to the screen of their mobile, even while eating or sleeping or kind of. So that is excessive attachment. And Trishna means, you're like hungry for some recognition and things like that. So here you see that pride, lust, over ambitious, that we are glamour, greedy, intoxicated, bossing type of tendency, very great thirst for honor and prestige. And if that doesn't come, then we become disturbed. Snap decisions, some people, they are known for it. They just decide. So they are like an individual player. They want to be fast, but then at the cost of efficiency also sometimes. So this comes in mode of passion. Thing comes in the mode of goodness, it's sukham and jnanam. That means person is very calm and cool, collected, and he works in knowledge. And this specific characteristics are given here. Cleanliness, he will keep his personal cleanliness, his room. Like sometimes you go in the room of some hostel boy or girl, and then you see how they keep their table, even, or how they keep their clothes, or how they, like sometimes I know when we used to go to the hostel, you'll find one slipper on the bed, another slipper is in the corner, and then another pair of shoes is there under the carpet, and then his 2 days back shirt is lying in one corner, and then his books are spread around, and then for 1 month they have not cleaned the room, so many things have come. So just imagine when such kind of things you enter, what happens? Generally you tend to sleep only. Why? Because the atmosphere is like that. So that is ignorance. But the person who is clean, his ability to take decision increases. So cleanliness, regulation, simplicity, thoughtfulness, creative thinking, tolerance, friendliness, discipline, obedience, wisdom, forgiveness. These are the qualities of when person is in the mode of goodness. But why we are talking about this is many times because we stay here in the monastery, temple. So many times many parents, they come to us telling that our son doesn't hear us. We want him to excel, and we want him that he should become a big man, achieve so many things, but then he doesn't hear us. He's always and then now he has started doing this wrong, like that, and he's not how to educate him. So many times we have this issue of changing ourselves to right habits. We have some wrong habits, we have got some wrong inputs, we have got some, that's called as a samskara. Samskara means some things have gone deep in our thought process, and that has to be changed. So that change doesn't happen in mode of passion and ignorance. Not possible. Unless the person comes to the mode of goodness, where he takes things in his control. For example, somebody says some bad word to you, and then we will lose temper, and we also say some bad things to him. That is in the mode of passion. Somebody is in the mode of ignorance, he will be just depressed that how come people behave with me like this? You have seen some people cribbing like that. They say that, everybody, jokes, nobody likes me and things like that. But then somebody is in the mode of goodness can choose his response to make things better. Like that example is there of once Buddha was going, and then, as you know, he was a monk, and when some other one of the person from the village, he started shouting. He said, "You nonsense! You don't work, and you just beggars, get lost from here." And Buddha was having his follower. That follower became so angry. He said, "Do you know who is he? You are speaking like this." And then he started quarreling with him. And then he saw that he had gone ahead already. So then he catched up, and then he was starting. He asked, "My dear teacher, Buddha, why did you?" He's like, that person was so abusive. Why didn't you respond? So the answer which he gave is very important for us, and that he said that, "My dear, son, if I say give you this pen, and you don't receive that pen, you don't take it only. So the pen remains with whom?" He said that with the person who is giving. So he said, "See, so he was giving me bad words, and I didn't receive it. So whom it remained with? The person only." So can you imagine the quality of response somebody can have? So similarly, in our life also, we can choose to respond when we are in this higher mode of goodness. So this response is very important in terms of your personal life, in terms of your professional life, in terms of when you are planning some big things in your life. So how do we do this response? So this response we do to the degree we make this environment. So our environment makes us in different modes. For example, I'll give you some 2-3 examples, and then we'll end the session for today. It is said that the morning time is in the mode of goodness. Afternoon time is in the mode of passion, and night in the mode of darkness, that is ignorance. So if you want to learn something, morning is the best, because innovations can happen more in the morning. Work is possible in the daytime, and the sleep generally happens in night time. The schools, they are in mode of goodness. The companies, shops, they are in the mode of passion. And the bars and things like that, they are in the mode of ignorance. When you eat some sattvic food, vegetarian diet, that is in the mode of goodness. Non-vegetarian, that is in the mode of passion. And things which are like unhealthy foods, they are in the mode of ignorance. So the thing is, what is your eating habits? What is your sleeping habits? What is your friends? What type of friends you have? What type of things you read? The books which you read? What type of videos you see? All these things are creating the atmosphere which mode you will belong to. So more we make that environment conducive for our mode of goodness, which makes us capable to take right decisions. So when we are discussing about this choice, that choice has the very great importance, because if you see the life starts with B and ends in D. B is birth and D is death. So, and we all have a small short of life. But then, as you know, that there comes the C in between B and D, and that C represents choice, how we choose. So the right choices lead us to right goal. Wrong choices takes us away from the goal. So in this world now, what lacks is not information. Information is more than what we can grasp. Whole Google is there to give you information at even one click. What is missing in life is this decision-making capacity. Nowadays, it has become like we are so fast in taking wrong decisions. Whether it is our habits, whether it is our relationships, whether it is so many things. So this kind of lifestyle which we take in our life, that makes us capable to take right decisions, which becomes a foundation for our success in future. So today we started with our point at how our whole system is of 3 levels. One is physical, another is mental, another is spiritual. And this is like a hardware, software, and user. If there is a problem in hardware, we can work it out. But if there is a software problem, that need to be sorted out. Otherwise, things will not work. We are hanged. And then we saw the example of this capsular. So this capsular had 3 choices. As much as we all have that 3 choices to respond to any situation when you are in crisis. And this choice depends on which mode we are in, or rather what mode we have acquired ourselves. And we, in length, we saw what mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance means. Ignorance and passion doesn't give you choice. It is like a response. The response is not in your hand. Only the platform of mode of goodness gives us a choice to respond. So we understand that if we learn to respond properly in our life, success is ahead. I again thank all the participants and the organizers for this event. And I don't know whether we have time. If we have time, then we can take few questions also.
Sure, sir. We have time. So students, you can type in your questions, and meanwhile, I'll just enable the mic option also. So if anyone of you who just wishes to raise a question can raise a hand, and then we can give you the permission to ask the questions. So the mics are enabled for all. Any queries? You can just raise your hands. So meanwhile, they are typing or raising their hands. One question I would like to ask you, sir. Like you said that there are 3 types of responses. So in my perception, these responses are like dependent on our personality. And it is very difficult to change our personality at any stage of life to suddenly switch on to move like the mode of goodness. So how do you suggest one should, start moving towards this mode from an ignorance mode or passion mode? So how do we cultivate this mode of goodness?
So the mode of goodness is cultivated and it is cultivable, because before we try to change the world, we need to try to change ourselves first. And that change is possible. Because, for example, I'll give you. Have you seen some South Indian people, how much they love rice and idli and sambar? Have you seen some North Indian people, how much they like parathas? You have seen some Bengali, eastern side of people, they also love rice like anything. So you know that how they practically everybody loves rice in South India. You sometimes surprise, how can they love so much? So that love has not come in one day or two. From their birth, they are practiced to eat only rice, and slowly they settle with it. They start loving it. So their love for rice is not original. That is just imposed on them because of their practice. So similarly, if we practice enough, we can actually change our personality type. That is possible. They say that some those are small habits can be done just by 21 days. If you practice something for 21 days, that becomes your second nature. For example, you want to get up early in the morning. If you just practice it for 21 days, it becomes a kind of imprint. So how that will help is by coming in the right type of association, right type of atmosphere. So when we are our behavior, our input specifically is in the mode of goodness, then we also tend to become in the mode of goodness. So that's why what kind of food you eat. You have seen some people, they eat very spicy, hot. Sometimes the water is coming from eyes, nose, and ears, like kind of they're perspiring, but then they say it's very nice, and then they eat. So that is a mode of passionate eating. But if you eat simple grains, cereals, milk items, then that also calms the mind. It has effect. So anything input is there. If you do the input in mode of goodness, mode of goodness food, mode of goodness videos, mode of goodness novels, whatever you read, mode of goodness atmosphere, clean atmosphere. Then when that input is mode of goodness, you tend to be in the mode of goodness, like that. So it is in our hand to change our mode. It's possible. Generally, the education is for that only. Education is to bring us to the mode of goodness.
Thank you, sir. So if I take it, you have to like cultivate it over a period of time to
Yes.
get it, like, and every time consciously take your response to see which one is the response which most aptly matches to goodness. May I now request team CSR to moderate the question answer session? Sir, we have few more questions if you have time available for our students.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Krishna, you can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, one question is, sometimes we forget or realize the consequences of our actions. Like when we are with our friends, we might do something that might inflict pain to others. So, how can we be stable?
Yeah. So the two things are there when we are discussing about the response. I'll just show that slide. So here is choose our behavior. One behavior is called as a reactive behavior, and another is called as a proactive behavior, a responsible behavior. Reactive means something bad happens. For example, like either it hurts you, hurts your ego, or you are not satisfied or whatever. And generally what happens is then we just blurt it out. We know that this is my dear friend. I don't want to say that. I don't want to hurt. But then I do it. Afterwards, I regret that, oh, I would have not done it. So that is a reactive impulse, impulsive reaction. You don't think. But then the responsible behavior means a response ability. That is called as responsibility. How you respond, you become able. That is called as responsibility. So your behavior is responsible. So the stimulus is there that you are hurt or you are not feeling well. But then things comes is the choice that you think whether what my response should be. And then you respond appropriately. So it looks very theoretical now. But what makes it practical is when we are able to pause the gap between the impulse coming and then giving response. If you just pause that for some time and think, which is the best thing to do. So that thinking and taking that decision, as we are discussing, that this mode of goodness will help. So that our response becomes responsible. Many times it happens that they say also in English, our tongue has no bone, but it can break the bones when the tongue moves wrongly and say some wrong words. It can break our bones or somebody else's bones. So when we are discussing about speech, speech has the power to either make it or break it. So how we speak, before we give our reaction, we should think. We should not just do it. That just do is not for reactions. That just do it is for only sports. It has very wrong consequences when it comes to the relationships. For example, you see that your friend is there and then like either he's something you don't like it. So the response is that I hate you, get lost, forget. Other response is, we can go and ask him that, dear, why did you do like this? Can you please make me understand? So when you give him a chance to give a proper understanding, that is a mode of goodness response. So we take a break, and so basically here we need to know that how we should modify our response, which will be more effective. So that modified responses comes when we are in the mode of goodness, because there is a thinking involved there. Other modes don't allow you to think. And generally, when you are thinking about the goal, you will surely respond rightly only. When you lose the track of your goal, then you respond anything. Have you seen ever? Sometimes I have seen my mother, and we used to go in the sari shop, and then mother will tell, okay, get the sari, and that person will practically keep 100 saris there, different colors and different borders and things like that. And practically after half an hour, mother will say that, oh, this is not matching, this is not good, and then just mother will walk off from the sari shop. And I used to look how that sari wala responds. The sari wala will fold his palms like this, and he says, you're always welcome. Our shop is always open, and it was nice time that you came in our shop. Thank you. So actually he's boiling inside because we have taken his half an hour. But then looking at the person, his shade sitting on the galla there on the counter, and he's watching what is happening. Because he is watching, his response is very perfect. So we can see that in our life also, if our eye is on goal, that goal will modify our response. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So the second question is how to recognize our capabilities and be realistic. Like sometimes we set our goals thinking that they are in our reach, but we are not able to achieve it.
Yeah. So that means realistic goals means, and achievable goal means, no problem. You can have a goal to, for example, somebody is failed in his first year, second year, something like that. And then he make a goal that I'll become a university topper. So now we can give best wishes for his goal, and we wish good, but then that may not be realistic. So then he has to first, pass all the papers and be in first class or whatever distinction and things like that, and then he can try for the university topper. So similarly, in our life also, when we are making goals, let that goal be in different parts. First, you do the next achievable thing, and then your next goal should be higher than that. If our goal is like too high, then what happens is when you don't achieve that, generally people they lose their courage and they feel that okay, nothing is happening, and then they leave only. So if somebody is failed person, he should first try to pass all the papers. That is his first goal. When he passes, next year he wants to score nice distinction. So our goals also has to be set in that way, that when we achieve it or we don't achieve it, we should not go into depression, or that should not discourage us. So we should go ahead. So our goals also should be like that. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, another question is sometimes whenever we do anything with good intentions, it leads to bad results. So, what should we do at that time?
Yeah, very important question. Like for example, we have very nice relationship with one of our friend, but that friend is not having good relationship with us. I help somebody, but then he is very passive or even no response. So we find sometimes that from my side, I am doing my best. I am trying to be good, but then the return response is not proper. So we should understand that also is a test. Actually, whatever you give, you get it. It may not be from that same person. It will come from different person. It may not come from the same situation. It will come in different situation. But then Newton's third law is there. Every action has equal and opposite reaction. And that is true. If you love X person, that X person may not love you, but that love will come back to you from some Y person. So what we have to do is we have to remain good all the time, whether response is good or bad. Is that okay?
Yes, sir. Sir, one last question is how to stop yourself from taking wrong decisions, like how to avoid that impulsive behavior.
Yeah, so it is very important that what kind of friends we have, what kind of inputs, what kind of videos we watch on YouTube and things like that. And all of you know that there are right type of videos which enthuse us, give us some knowledge, inspiration, and some videos are, they actually make our mentality little more kind of just, some people they watch just for time pass, some people watch for just fun, some people watch for, I have seen people watching horror movies, going to the movie theater, paying 200 rupees and watching a horror movie. So that's what I'm telling, that what kind of inputs you are giving to yourself, that makes a lot of change in your personality. So we have to be very careful about our input. Like nowadays, people are so careful about input. Input means they are always having a mask because they know that anywhere the corona can enter, and they don't want that. People going here, there, they're washing their hands so that infection should not come. If you are walking on the road and then you see nice smelling bhaji or some vada pav or something like it there, but you see some flies are there around. Although our mind is telling that have it, tasty, but we will not have it because we know that it is not good. It will be infectious. So we are so careful to keep our body away from infection. But then when it comes to our mind, we are almost dull. What input we are taking to mind? We just take truckloads of junk and download in terms of wrong videos, wrong information, wrong friends, wrong. So it's like we don't, there is no gate only to supervise. So as much as you are concerned about your body not to be infected, we should be equally or more concerned about our mind not getting infected with negative thoughts, negative attitudes. And that comes by that. So you should be very careful to, like when you go out, you are so careful to what you eat, right? But that much carefulness is not there when you see some YouTube videos. So we have to be careful because any input is there, it makes you what you see or what you read or what you associate. So we carefully choose our input. Okay.
Yes, sir. Now I would request Dr. Galvina Pereira ma'am to give a formal vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. That was really engaging session. And I think we all agree that we not only learned how to manage our responses, but we also learned in a way how to do or how to take a smart goal or smart action whenever we have planned something. So I think this is something we all as students, so next time when we have something in our mind, we'll just quickly analyze it, which type of response, and we'll try to push it to a goodness kind of. So thank you very much for that. Thank you for giving us your precious time for this session. All our students are really benefited by it. We also like to thank Dr. Agnivesh, our alumni, because of whom this session was possible. Mr. Nitin Manyar sir and Swati ma'am for communicating the session, and to all my dear students for your patient listening and the being there. I'll also thank the team CSR for organizing this event. So thank you all of you. Thank you for your time and have a great weekend ahead. Please fill the feedback form which is there in the comment section. Now, just before we close, uh, I'll just request all of you to just, if possible, switch on the cameras. We'll just take a quick screenshot. Sir, if you can just, if possible, to stop sharing the slide. So it's enabled. So just take a quick screenshot. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Agnivesh, sir. And again, wishing you all a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
close the session now, requesting you to please fill the feedback form before you leave. Thank you. Thanks again, sir. I'll just end the meeting for all. Thank you.
Thank you.